Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to be showing how I do my tail bags. I just ripped them out of old sheets. So we have just a pre-ripped piece of fabric here, and I just tear it in 3 strips, but I leave about 6 to 8 inches at the top, so that it's still connected to each other and not all free floating. And then I just tear a little piece that we're gonna tie it off with, and then I just have my scissors for the end. And so that's all you need: scissors, tail bag, and a clean tail. So I take the tail bag, shake it out because I've had it bundled, and I'm just gonna take it and tuck it behind the tail. I'm gonna hold it up high to start, and then I'm gonna see where my rips are, and I'm gonna find the end of her dock, and I'm gonna slide that down to her dock, to the tip. So I want the rip to start at the end of her dock, and then I'm gonna wrap it around her dock really tight as I can, just to hold it well during the braiding process, and then we come back and undo this at the end. That's just gonna hold it in place while I'm braiding. I take my tie, I'm just gonna tie it to keep it in place for now, but I'm gonna have it with a little slip knot that I can just pull loose when I'm ready to come back to that. So then I'm just gonna section off the hair into 3 portions for our standard braid.
What are you doing, Mom?
I'm bagging a horse's tail. And then I'm going to take each section and I'm going to wrap it in 1 strand of fabric. So I'm going to take this first one here. I'm going to take this material and I'm going to wrap it around that hair as best I can. It's okay if it's not perfectly centered in the strap. I made this wrap extra long so that I've got some room at the base. Okay, I'm gonna take the second one. I'm gonna do this other side so it's easier to grab. Wrap that one in the fabric. And then I have the last one. I'm just gonna tuck it in the back to meet that fabric and wrap that one. So now I have 3 strands roughly wrapped in fabric right now, and I'm just going to find the dock, and I'm going to do about a thumb width, and I'm going to start my braid, and I'm just going to do the first ones a couple loose, really loose. I'm not pulling tight because I don't want to put a lot of pressure at the base of the tail. And then use my knee to kind of break it up when the material gets stuck. Okay, so as I braid, I'm going to keep tucking my fabric around each strand to keep the hair inside of it so that the hair doesn't peek out. I'm just going to continue my braid. I do a couple and then make sure that the hair is within the fabric. So I'm wrapping the fabric around the hair. And then I tuck it. And just keep doing that same thing as you work all the way down. Hopefully you can see it in the video. So like this one's starting to, I'm going to break this up. This one's starting to peek out right there. So I'm going to just really make sure that I grab that hair, hold it in the fabric, wrap the fabric around the hair, tucking it in, just like that. The further you get down, usually it starts holding itself in a lot better and better. And I usually like to do a tail wrap that complements the color of the horse. I just think it looks more natural. It's not as obvious that they're wrapped all the time. In this video, I'm doing a darker shade on my light horse, so it stands out more, so that people can see when the hair is sticking out and such. You okay, honey bunch? So I'm getting to the base of her tail, the hair right now, and I just keep tucking it in, make sure it's well covered at the ends of the hair. And because her tail is somewhat shorter right now, because I haven't had her very long, I've only had her a couple months, I've only put one of these tail bags in. This is her second one, but we are already getting some length going. But I'm going to keep braiding it to give her a longer tail to swish with. And I'm gonna go to her fetlock. So I've got a little ways to go still. But I don't want to go past the fetlock. My tendrils can stick past them, but I don't want my knot to go past it, or else she'll start stepping on it as her tail grows. Okay, so that's probably a good length. So now I'm just going to tie off the end in some knots. So I just take 2 of the strands, tie just a standard knot. I'm going to grab 2 more and tie those. And then I'm going to do 1 more. So I do 3 knots at the base. Just like that. So we have our knots. So now I'm going to take and measure down her leg, fetlock, and I'm going to do about a fist below the knot. And then that's where I'm going to cut it off, is a fist below the knot. Just like that. That's a nice length. And as it grows out, she's not going to start stepping on it. So now I'm going to come back to the top, pull out our tie. I'm going to feel where the base of the dock is, and then I'm going to pinch that, and I'm going to pull the rest of this fabric down over my hand. And then I fold it around, just bring all that material below the dock so that it won't cut off any circulation, and we don't want to lose our tail. And then I just make sure that I'm well below it, a thumb or 2, to do my tie. And then I just double or triple knot this, and this just helps secure it, preventing some of the slippage. And then I trim my ties to be just a couple inches long. And that is a done tail wrap. So this will stay in a month or sometimes more, but I like to redo them at least that often, because as they grow out, they'll get kind of a rat's nest right here at the base of the dock. It comes out easily when you shampoo, condition, put a detangler in, and then just brush it out, picking out from the bottom, working your way up, and it all comes out. It doesn't cause more loss or anything. So the other thing that's kind of optional that I do is if I have some long pieces left like this, I'll cut them into strips. It's easier to do this with the horses that their tails aren't super long yet. And we're just going to create a little bit more of a swish at the base of the tail for her. So I'm going to take these straps, and I know that her tail ended in this area, so all this is just fabric. So I can tie along this, and I'm not going to cause any issues when I go to remove this tail bag. And I just tie it in 1 knot. I'm just going to tie a bunch of them so that she has a little pom-pom at the base of her tail to swat the flies with. Okay, and I just make sure none of those are crazy, unnaturally long, longer than the others. And if there are a few, just grab them and trim them to be somewhat like the others. So So then she has that little fluff at the end that she can swat flies with. But that's it. That's how I like to do my tail bags, and all my horses' tails drag the ground, and I cut 4 to 6 inches off every few months, and use the hair for some of my horsehair keepsakes and such. So anyhow, I'll probably do another video showing how I cut old sheets and stuff, or cheap sheets or fabric, into these tail bags. But it's pretty straightforward. I just make sure that it's at least as tall as me when I start with the fabric, and all the way to the ground, because you lose some of the length in the fabric as you start braiding it. So, but that's it.